What's up, everyone? Welcome to Barstool Breakdown, episode 39. And we got a great show for you today. But once again, if you are not subscribed, hit that subscribe button for us, please. Really helps us out. We appreciate all you guys that are subscribed and listening out there. We got great interviews coming. This week, we got an awesome one. It's the captain of the Honkers. It's Octagon Bob. It's Robbie Fox. Let's get it.
Get sturdy as fuck.
This is it.
I should be over all the butterflies, but I'm into you. And baby, even on the worst nights, I'm into you.
All right, we're here with a very special guest. You might know him as Octagon Bob. You might know him from My Mom's Basement. You might know him from Spinning Backfist, or that he's the captain of Season 1 champion Big Screamin' Honkers. It's Robbie Fox. How we doing, brother?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Yeah, I mean, we're honored to have a former champ on. Is he our first? He's our first champion, I think, that we've had on. Frankie.
Oh, am I?
I mean,
Nice.
that's an honor, I think. I'm trying to rattle my brain.
Good.
Frankie
Don't
the
invite
Frank
any of
gets
the other
another one.
ones on, and then
Yeah.
I'll be the only one.
Yeah, there we go.
We've never had any of the Glenny Balls team.
Anyways,
Kirk's
Minahan,
team,
so
they're
yeah.
the only, yeah.
Oh, we're never gonna get anyone from. If Kirk Minahan finds out that anyone came on this show, he'd be pissed off. I mean, he had a rivalry against Stoolies a while ago. That's why I
true.
mentioned that. I'm sure he's
Well,
fine. Now. He's got his hands full now.
I got to ask you, Jonathan usually gets into right away the normal
Mm-hmm.
question, but since I introduced you as the captain of the Season 1 champion, what the hell's going on with the Honkers, dude?
I know we didn't have a great season. Like,
No, I
it
just mean
felt
like Clemmer
yeah.
was ready to leave. It looked like I was like, oh my God, what's happening? Is there any drama going on? What's up?
No, I don't think any drama behind the scenes. I mean, we like playing together. I think Clemmer and Gia care about the game so much on a real level that, like, when we leave the taping room, sometimes I'm like, oh, that was fun. And they're like, what do you mean it was fun? We fucking lost. And I'm like, oh, yeah. Like, I've heard, maybe it's because I have a ring, like I've already
Oh shit.
climbed that mountain. But yeah, we had a bit of a rough season. I feel like we turned it around at the end, and who knows, the year we won the tournament, me, Coley, and Mintz, I mean, we really didn't think there was any chance we were going to win. I was in Dallas for it. I wasn't even like here. I was zooming in for it because I was like, I mean, I'm not going to win. Like, it's fine that I'll be we were at a Canelo fight, and then we won. So yeah, I think we had a chance this year.
Yeah, everyone does, honestly.
Yeah, puncher's chance for sure. And it's a new format of all live from Chicago. And so everyone's going to be in the same spot at the same time. They kind of had that last year where they did it in New York, but it wasn't live. It was recorded. Yeah. So it was like no spoilers, all that fun shit. But this year, all live from Chicago, and then the live event, which so you won it first season. Have you been to a live event? Have you been to a live event?
We did a New York live event when the Honkers team was me, Mintz, and Francis, and we got
oh yeah. He said he got destroyed.
Yeah, it was bad. I think we played the experts. I think we did pretty sure it was Honkers experts, and then experts wound up winning the New York trophy. I think.
Well, I'm pretty sure Francis holds the career low for average scoring in the dozen, which is insane.
He may, which is crazy. Yeah,
but he was soon thereafter that game. I remember. That was like a big deal.
I remember he tried to quit backstage right after it. He was like, I'm done. I'm sorry, guys. I got to be done. He's like, I'm embarrassing for you guys. And I think I talked him into maybe one more game after that.
Yeah, exactly. I think there was one more on Zoom. And then I remember him saying on the Zoom, this is it. I'm done. And then he blogged about it or something. Yeah. All right, Jonathan, do your thing, man.
Yeah, no, I do usually lead it the same way. Of course, we want to get into everything that you're doing there at Barstool, but yours is so. How we research here is I always do a LinkedIn thing, and I kind of just all right, how'd you go from this to this to this? If you look at yours says freelance graphic designer for 2.5 years.
Yeah, while you were in high school.
While you were in high school, and then to Barstool Sports for 7 years, and whatever it is, but yeah, a little over 7 years. So what got you into Barstool, especially at that age? Obviously, we've spoken to Nick Fasoli's of the world who got into it from Guess That Ass, but coming with Bob Fox. Bob Fox, I feel like yours is a little different story.
Yeah, it's funny that you go on LinkedIn. I haven't looked at my LinkedIn in years. I think I still remember a picture of me on it and everything. Yeah. So I got into Barstool because I had a bunch of older cousins. My sister's 9 years older than me. My brother's 12 years older than me. I've always just kind of hung out with the older cousins and stuff. And one of my cousins at like a family party just like was like, hey, have you seen this Barstool? Don't tell your parents I'm telling you about it. And I just liked it for like the viral videos. Like I never even at the time, I never watched the rundown for a couple years at least, never watched any of the original content. When I got into that, then it was like next level. Do you want me to wait for him?
I was gonna say I don't know what's going on
Did he
there, but
pop
you're
off for you
good.
too?
Yeah, you're good though, and we do have individual recordings. So he just texted me. Keep it rolling. I'll be back in 2 minutes.
All right, that's fine.
This happened with Casey too. Like all of a sudden we lost her, and then she came back. So yeah, we'll cut it or we'll just leave this. Whatever.
But my cousin showed me Barstool. I thought all the viral videos were funny. Eventually, when I started watching the rundown, I was like, oh, this is like, I like this way more than I thought I liked this. This is like what I want to be on for. And I just started sending like shirt designs, podcasts, sample blogs, everything like that for a couple years. And from the time I was 13, I think I got my first reply from Big Cat when I was 14. And he was like,
shit.
dude, you're 14. We can't hire you. And I was like, yes, that's my foot in the door right there.
Yeah, it is.
So I just like kept sending them stuff, kept annoying Dave and Big Cat and K Marco and KFC and everyone at Barstool with emails. And then when they moved to New York, I grew up in Jersey. So I viewed that as like the perfect opportunity to get hired as an intern. I like waited till everyone hired interns, and then I emailed all the people that didn't get them, and I was like, I'll work for free, because I figured I wouldn't get hired being a community college kid. I was like, it's just like a weird thing to go through. But eventually got hired as Riggs intern because he needed someone that knew how to edit podcasts. He was trying to start what became Foreplay.
Right. And I got in one of my questions here. Shout out Sam Lauderdale. It's my guy. I know it's one of your guys too, but I was like, dude, interviewing Robbie, give me some stuff. Like, here's what I got. And he's like, well, did you know that like the only golf course he's ever been to is Augusta? And I was like, what? Is that still the case?
That's accurate. Like I've played a scramble when Barstool used to, before the Barstool Classic, Smitty used to just run like a Stoolie golf outing every year in Avalon. And I played in like one of those scrambles, but other than that random Avalon golf course, yeah, Augusta is the only one.
It's insane, dude. It's like people that dream of
weird,
that.
yeah.
It's like the only one.
Everyone is like, every golf fan is like, are you kidding me, dude? You know what I would give up? My firstborn. Right. I'm like, I thought it was cool. I had the pimento cheese. I tried it.
Yeah, it was all right. Not for me, I guess. Yeah, yeah. So that's still the only one. Yeah, sorry, I rookie mistake by me. I was rushing around. My laptop, was at work. I had to bring it back, set it up. I forgot to plug it in. It was dead. So I lost complete power there. Yeah, so I missed the beginning there. But yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to apologize for blacking out on you there. I know that I'll catch it when I edit, but yeah, let me get my questions back up here. My bad, Robbie.
I didn't even really so the graphic design part of the LinkedIn, I didn't even really get into. When I was trying to get hired by Barstool, I was sending like sample t-shirt designs to everyone. And then that extended to like around the same time, a site called Pro Wrestling Tees started, which blew up, and it became like the #1 spot. Wrestlers that weren't signed to the WWE were selling merch. So I would also like email shirt designs to wrestlers, small wrestlers, independent wrestlers, legends that weren't signed, and just be like, hey, you guys can have this for free, and then hope to cash in on a favor later and be like, can I have a free ticket to a show or something? So that's like the graphic design part. While I was in high school,
that's awesome.
I was doing a lot of like wrestling t-shirt designs and wrestling gear designs. So if wrestlers needed like new tights and stuff, I would literally draw them with my finger on my iPad. And I drew some like pretty good designs back in the day. And then I got hired as like the graphic designer of a place called Humdingers in New Jersey. It's a batting cage, bowling alley, arcade combo.
Oh, that sounds sick.
It is. It is pretty sick.
Have you been recruited for the Yak Royal Rumble? Like any involvement in that? Because
no.
Because I mean, they're doing the Royal Rumble case race, and they need designed wrestler stuff. I feel like you'd be a perfect fit. So you're gonna be in town that week for the dozen. You know, depending on how far you make it. I feel like Bob Fox has to be involved in that. You know,
So you got to be
if
involved
that-
with it and the design. I feel like both
Yeah.
things. That would be awesome.
I'm not a good drinker. Like like I could put down like maybe a high noon or two, and I'm like toasty for the night. You know.
Yeah.
So I don't
Yeah,
know if
that's
a
good.
case
It's a
race.
Royal Rumble.
I don't know
Come
if I
on,
got a
you got
case
plenty of
race in me,
teammates.
but yeah, maybe if I had a team. Yeah, I don't know how does the Royal Rumble case? Have they said the rules?
They haven't specifically laid it all out yet. Big Cat has kind of done his thing where he like voices his ideas and they go off of that. So it's like, you know, one will enter, well, and then another will enter, and then basically
Your team slowly grows.
Slowly
he wants to
grows
do
every 10
1-on-1.
minutes, and then once you get your full team, I think you have like a full 10 minutes, and then every 10 minutes, they spin the wheel again, and it gets back down to 1v1. Like to end it was his end plan.
That's
for it.
how
I like that. Honestly, the Royal Rumble is a better, like the name is better. It sounds more like a War Games case race. This is like the War Games match where it's like your team grows every 2 minutes, you get another person, and then it's like lopsided. Like, it's kind of case race War Games. We need to put it in a steel cage.
Right. Well, I think they're trying. That's a great idea. Yeah, they talked about bringing a ladder in too, so it could be a ladder match, Royal Rumble cage match. Who knows? Who knows?
Someone will go through a table at some point.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. No doubt with the way they run it over there.
Big Cat's gonna bring a bat with like just wrapped in barbed wire or something, and just like that's not a good idea around all of them. Like I could just imagine some of the props that they
like Sting,
yeah,
like Will Compton and his Wolfpack Sting paint.
Yeah. Something I don't want to brush over that you mentioned there, you know, as I came back in, is you were helping Riggs, you know, with the start of what is now, I mean, the biggest golf show, like, you know, on YouTube. So as at a young age, making wrestling t-shirts, and now you're going to help this guy talk about golf. How does that work? And like, were there any challenges coming into that role? I mean, maybe it wasn't like, you know, a huge role, but especially at such a young age, or were you just like, you know, pedal to the metal, I know what I'm doing here?
I was like half and half. I was a lot of fake it till you make it with that, because I don't know anything about golf really. Like my dad watched it growing up, so I know very surface level stuff, but not to the point where like Riggs like, I'm starting a golf podcast. I'd like you to help me get guests. It's like, well, I don't have any connections in that world. I don't even know who you would think is like a worthy guest. So I remember when we started trying to do like sample episodes and stuff, reaching out to people was always tricky, because like, be like, hey, do you want this guy? He's on the PGA Tour. And Riggs would be like, yeah, but like nobody knows who he is. And it's like, I don't know that because I'm not watching golf. I'm not in the circles. So that was definitely tricky. And it was just like, it was definitely not like a perfect fit, because they would be talking about stuff that I would just not be able to chime in about at all. And I didn't need to, but like, it's nice to have a producer that can play off of you a little bit, give you topics to bring up. I wasn't great at that either. I would go on golf Reddit and be like, I don't know, this is what the golf Reddit is talking about. Like it was very hard to just ingratiate myself in that world immediately. So that was tricky. I remember I was also in college at the time it was starting. So like I got hired by Barstool in October of 2017, maybe. And by that February, I was hired. So like full time, I could drop out of college. So from October to February, I was in college full time. I was working at Humdinger's until they fired me for spending too much time at Barstool. And I was Riggs' intern. So I remember I was like leaving astrology class to pick up a phone call from Smiley Kaufman. I think that was his name. Smiley Kaufman is a golfer.
Okay.
It's a sick
it was like
name.
weird stuff like that, where it was like, that was the struggle of like balancing all of it. But as far as just being the producer of it, it was very basic edits at the time. Like Barstool is not known for, you know, the best quality audio and stuff like that, especially in 2017. So that was not too bad. Like it was just staying late at the office. We would eat sushi like every week. Me, Riggs, and Trent, we would order sushi, record foreplay. It was fun. I loved it, honestly. Like everything, all of my foreplay memories are pretty much fun.
I mean, how can it not be? It's a job that's centered around golfing mostly. Like, yeah, that'd be awesome.
And I didn't even get to go to the courses though. Like now,
right. Besides the
time there outside of the office, Augusta's the the only course I ever got to go to with him.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Well, you're in a much better fit now. Let's say that, because you're talking about UFC stuff. You're talking about WWE. One of the questions I had here, can't say Connor, but favorite UFC fighter of all time.
So my original like kind of entry point into the sport was through WWE. It was when Brock Lesnar debuted. So I was like,
Oh.
holy shit, like I knew wrestling was fake. I was very young, but I was like, this, like, what do you mean he's gonna wrestle for real? Like, this is really, he can actually fight people. He goes in and loses to Frank Mir in his first fight, and I thought that was dope. Even though I was rooting for Brock, like he went in and pummeled Frank Mir, and then Frank grabbed like a heel hook and tapped Brock, and I was like, whoa, holy shit! Like, how does that work? Where he was just getting his ass kicked, and he just can grab a little lock, twist it the wrong way, and the guy is screaming in agony. So I was like bought in from there on. Rampage Jackson and Forrest Griffin were my two guys because in that era they were everyone's guys. But also Joe Lozon, fighter from Massachusetts. This guy was in the lightweight division, just ripping people apart, getting bonuses in every fight, entertaining submissions. Every fight was fight of the night that he had. He would lose half of them, but like every single time he was the most entertaining fighter on the card. Oh, he's getting bloodied wearing the crimson
wild
mask.
ears.
Wild ears. So honestly, other than Connor, like I might answer Joe Lozon just for like the way he really got me into the sport, got me into watching guys in like the lightweight division, lighter divisions, and be like, these are actually the most entertaining fights. It's not the heavyweights all the time. So I'd probably say Lozon.
Yeah, I mean,
awesome,
that's sick. I love how you started with the Frank Mir one because I mean that's such a vivid fight for me too. Because yeah, you got it's like David versus Goliath. You're like, hold on, Brock Lesnar's about to beat the shit out of that guy. It looks like especially as an outsider, not knowing who the hell Frank Mir was and how good his ground was. But like when he starts,
and then seeing the rematch too, like seeing Brock overcome it at UFC 100, like, oh shit, he learned a thing, he came back better. Like that whole storyline, Brock's MMA career was like, if you were a wrestling fan, how could you not be like glued to the screen every Brock Lesnar fight?
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's the beauty. It's the beauty of MMA. It's the beauty of what we just saw with Dustin Poirier coming, working his ass off, trying to even survive that fight. It seemed like, but it's something that I think that you guys with Spinning Backfist are doing a great job of like detailing of like these fighters have stories. There's like more than just going out and knocking the guy out. It's like, look who he's fought in the past and all this stuff, which, a lot of novice fans, come to appreciate that stuff. And your guys' social media work, by the way, has been incredible. Like I have friends who don't know shit about Barstool and they'll send me Spinning Backfist stuff. And I'm like, yeah, bro, that's a Barstool. You didn't know that? Yeah, they're sweet.
The page is like a monster at this point. That's 90% credit to this guy Lee who runs the page. You might follow him on Twitter. His name's like Phil Lee.
Oh yeah,
Lee Holbert. Awesome Twitter guy. He's just on Twitter 24/7. He sees everything. He gets it up on the page. Him and Jack Mack are really the ones that do the heavy lifting on that page. I probably do 10% of it at this point, but they do an awesome job because like people will send me clips from like my friends will send me clips from Spinning Backfist that don't know it's a Barstool page, don't know it's like associated with me at all. It's like, I just saw that. Or I'll see it pop up. I'll see like stuff stolen from it pop up on TikTok or stuff like that. And even though they're stealing it, it's like, oh shit, that's like good. It's, the brand is getting out there.
Yeah.
My favorite is when I'll send like a clip to my, like, I'll see like a sick knockout and then I'll send the like tweet to my buddy and he'll be like, the video says it's copyrighted or whatever. Cause it's already like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Sometimes they like take the videos. I'm like, damn,
they're
dude.
Good with it. They take it down quick.
Yeah. But you guys get them up so quick that it's like so many people already see it. It's fucking nuts. It's like, holy shit.
The last second knockout.
UFC 300, yep. Gaethje and Poirier or Gaethje and Holloway.
Right. Yeah. When Holloway put him down at the bell and you guys tweeted that out, I saw you guys tweet that out 3 or 4 times because how quick that was getting down. I actually sent a video to the account. I was like, here's one that I've had up for a while. Somehow it's not getting down yet. And then of course I got taken down too. But yeah, I mean, because you got to be the first to post those clips, man. That they're fucking nuts. And who doesn't like to see a guy get put down, in the right circumstances?
Exactly.
So it's incredible.
It's interesting because the clips get taken down, and maybe this is me like saying too much. I hope, knock on wood, I hope this doesn't change. But the clips get taken down, but we don't get I don't think the account gets stricken, at least not yet. Right. So I think it's an issue where like ESPN, I think, owns that footage or whatever, and they don't want that getting out. But I think the UFC loves it. I think not with us specifically, in general on Twitter, I think they realize that. Like NBA, like MMA Twitter is a huge thing. And
Oh,
those clips getting out there, I mean, that Gaethje clip from UFC 300, eventually they were like, fuck it, and they put it out. They were like,
Mhm.
we don't care that it's the biggest knockout of the night and we want you to buy the pay-per-view. Here it is, because everyone's watching it.
Right. I mean that sent like that's the chilling knockout. You know, you're that pointing them out the way you did. I think I've talked about it when Big Ed was on the show when we were talking Spinning Backfist, but it was nuts. But speaking about how the reach and the how that show has grown, I mean, you're a credentialed guy now for
Oh yeah.
Connor Chandler, right? So how is that? You know, you get in. I mean, I'm pretty sure you have a interesting past with UFC, right? There's like more of a backstory to it. Or am I
With
misremembering
UFC,
something?
not as much, to be honest. There was more like with WWE was in the
That's what it
beginning,
was.
it was harder to get them to like understand Barstool. UFC has been pretty pro Barstool the entire time
Mhm.
I've been hired by them, because I think Dana, knowing from Boston, he's got the Massachusetts roots. Like, he was a Barstool fan. He was scrolling the app with the Fertitas, and all that. So they've always been like so overly kind to me. Like, people, journalists and stuff will have their issues with UFC, and it's like I almost feel bad because I'm like, they've treated me like a king at the UFC. They're always giving me like cage side seats, access to Dana, access to Conor McGregor. Like, it's crazy. I can't say enough like great things about like their PR team and stuff, because they're just so pro Barstool.
Yeah, I mean, it helps a little bit that Will and Taylor they have a timeshare with Dana White in the Tunnel of Chaos. So
Yeah, that's
they're
actually
always
one of the
Another thing, like
questions.
the second Dana met them, yeah, it was like he could tell. He was like, all right, these guys are cool. They're not trying to do like gotcha questions. And he became like best friends with them.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's actually one of the questions I had written down. I said, is there any like possibility of like a bussin' collab with you guys? Because the Chandler
Oh,
McGregor,
yeah.
I mean, Chandler's friends, with the bussin' guys. You guys should all do like a pod or some sort of something together. That'd be great.
Definitely. I think I'm going to be on Radio Row for the like couple days leading up to
Nice.
that fight. And I don't know if they might have their own spot on Radio Row, and I may just make a guest spot on that and merge it or something. But if they're not, like, of course, yeah, I want to get them in there, talk some shit. They're obviously going to be super team Chandler. I'll be super team McGregor. That'll
Yeah,
be great.
exactly.
I met up with them not the last time I was there for Power Slap, but the time before, and we wound up like not making actual content together, but we were hanging out. Those guys are awesome.
Oh yeah, they're great. We talk about it all the time with the boys. There was what was it? Shit? I just blanked on my question. Don't worry, I process a lot. Like Will Compton, I explained this to Casey Smith. I process. We're from the same high school, so sometimes it takes me a second to get all the.
You and Will Compton are?
Yeah, yep. I went to his
wow.
little brother was a year under me, and he was 2 years above me. It's like a weird story to where like I never really knew his family, but he played football with my brother. Yeah, my brother just sucked.
Wow. Small
Yeah, Will
world.
compliment it. Oh yeah, for sure. But yeah, how worried are you? I mean, the fight's got to happen, right? But are you still worried about McGregor's status? I mean, it seems to be clearing up.
It seems to be clearing up. Yeah, there were some clouds in the sky for a little bit, and it seemed weird. Like, honestly, I think
Very.
he's hurt. I think he had an injury of some sort in training that they're assessing. And I don't have any inside intel whatsoever. Everyone asks is like, I don't fucking know. But it seems like they canceled the presser because they couldn't hide an injury. Maybe he had a limp or something that he couldn't hide.
Yeah.
And that by the 29th, it'll be better. It makes me a little worried that he's probably going to go into the fight compromised, but he went into the Mendez fight with like no ACL. He won that one. He went into the last Poirier fight compromised and broke his leg. That was bad. Went into the Khabib fight with a broken foot, got destroyed. That was bad. But it's like, I don't.
Wasn't the
At this
Aldo
point,
fight?
I want to see him in a cage. Like, if
Yeah.
you give me him in the cage with one leg, like, let's do it.
Yeah,
Right, okay.
I actually watched. I was like, I don't like shit talkers. I do like when they can back it up, but he was like almost too much. Where I was like, oh, I like you, but dude, you got to pump the brakes a little bit. But I've always like, I've always been like, I don't know. I'm a fan of Conor, but I was always like against the way that he. I don't know, dude. He talks so much shit, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I was against Anderson Silva during his whole career for the same reasons I love Conor.
Yep.
Like, it doesn't really
Yeah.
make sense.
That's a good
But
point.
one I just picked as a hero, one I picked as a villain.
Yeah, I mean, those guys sell fights. Same you could say with a guy like Floyd Mayweather, who Conor fought. Like they sell fights with the way that they talk. So if Conor, does pull out, how many rounds do you beat Michael Chandler in?
It's got to be in the first two, I think. Like, Chandler's one of those guys where every fight he has is like it's not here for a long time. It's here for a good time.
Mhm.
Like he gets dropped in the first round of a lot of his fights, and then
Yeah.
he fucking wakes back up like a zombie, and he comes through, sprays blood in your face, and then he knocks you out. But like maybe McGregor could keep him down. I honestly think, like, I would be shocked if the fight made the third round.
Oh, see, I was actually I that was poor questioning by me. I appreciate the answer. I was saying if McGregor does pull out, I've seen the video of you going at Chandler. How long does it take you to put him down? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that video is funny too. I don't think Chandler fully understood what was going to happen when we set up
Oh,
that
really?
video. That's funny. Is he came in and that was days after Masvidal and Jake Paul did like the same exact thing. They did like this fake skit video where Masvidal pulled up on Jake Paul for like talking shit, and it was so obvious that it was fake. So many cameras were around that it was like everyone was joking about it, but they get face to face, and it was all to promote an interview on one of their podcasts, Jake's Better podcast or something. And we were like, let's just do the same thing with Chandler, because obviously the McGregor Chandler dynamic or whatever. So I said to Chandler, like, yeah, like we'll get face to face. I didn't mention like I just wanted to get right up in his face and push him.
Yeah.
So like we did that, and we put all the fake cameras, like we gave Ev a camera and left the lens cap on it in the video just for people to be like, he's not even filming.
Yeah, just sitting there turning. That's how he did in the video.
And like I shoved Chandler, and we had security separate us or whatever. And then afterwards, Chandler was like, I should have fucking known you were going to do that. And I was like, oh, I didn't know I was doing something that I didn't pre-plan. I'm sorry, sir. Like I didn't mean to. But he was cool about it. He's a cool guy.
Yeah,
No, that's awesome, dude. But didn't I watch that Notorious documentary? And that's actually what made me like, I respect McGregor so much, and actually became, like I said, I became a fan of his just because I've actually had 4 knee surgeries throughout my college baseball career. And I can't even I can't squat 90 degrees anymore. So to see
when you turn, yeah.
Well, when I'm watching him, like no ACL, and he's like, yeah, just strengthen the muscles around it and I'll be good. And then I think that's when he knocked that Aldo in like 1 second, wasn't it? And I think that documentary was, and I was just like, holy shit, dude. I was like, that it was like 10 seconds. I was like, all right, this guy is an absolute legend. So, as bad as he's looked in his last fights and just mental health in general and stuff, he looked like a fucking beast in Roadhouse. So we'll see what happens.
Oh yeah. We're chasing that dragon of like the original Aldo run. Like that we had such a good high with that now it's just like, can we get even 50% of that with a win? I'm chasing 50% of that.
If he does the Fighting Irish stance, I feel like he can still, because when he does that little karate stance thing, I feel like he can just throw punches from places that people aren't expecting it. So who knows?
I mean, he was the most elite striker in the game's seen during his rise. The way he was so accurate and just diverse on his feet. But yeah, I'm excited for that. He's sticking with the fight game. You're in a different kind of fight game. Some would say, rough and rowdy, right? You've commentated. It seems since the get. How's that? Calling live action fights. Sometimes you got rednecks from West Virginia, or you're up in Rhode Island, wherever it may be. It's always a spectacle, and you're calling it with Dan Big Cat Katz and the president, El Presidente, Dave Portnoy. How is that trying to keep those guys in a broadcast booth and also call what the hell you're watching out there? Because sometimes it's pretty spectacular. I wouldn't call it fighting exactly.
Oh no. Brawling is more accurate for sure. It gets rough, it gets rowdy. In the words of Frank the Tank, are you ready to get rough? You ready to get rowdy? It's other than Pup Punk, my favorite thing at Barstool. Like Pup Punk shows are in a world of their own. It almost doesn't even feel like I'm like working with Barstool. It feels like you're up there with your friends. But Rough and Rowdy does feel like work, but in like a good, fun, easy way. Like I feel like I have to like lock in for Rough and Rowdy because I'm on the broadcast with Dave and Big Cat, and I know everyone's buying it for Dave and Big Cat. So I really got to like pick my spots. Like come in, say a quick joke, and get out of there. But mostly just let them do the work. And it's easy because of that. Like you want Dave and Big Cat talking 80 to 90% of the time, and just pop in when you think of a funny joke or a funny like little.
They're always perfect and on time. Sorry to cut you off there, but I mean, his jokes are. I mean, they always hit.
Or if they have a fake question, like some. But even like, it's hard because originally when I like was trying to pitch myself to be like, hey, can I do something with you guys? I said you could throw to me and I'll be like scoring the rounds. Like I'll be like the analyst where they'll be
Mhm.
like, how do you have it? Well, I have it 10-9, you know, like the old school like boxing commentator. But like Rough and Rowdy, every fight is 3 rounds. Sometimes we'll do a 5-round fight, but like it's so hard to be like, I don't know, it's a 10-9, that one's a
Yeah,
10-8.
it's so
Like
fast.
you just want to be like, that guy won, blue gloves
Yeah.
won, red gloves won. And that's how it runs. So like it's a lot less what the original thought was. You bring on the fight guy to give you like fight analysis. I
Yeah.
don't really do that on the broadcast that much. Like
Right.
here and there when they have a rules question or something like that. Or I'll mostly read up on the fighters before the show. So like I'll
Mhm.
do all the research. Dave and Big Cat will like not even really know who's coming out till they walk through the curtain, which I think is good for the broadcast because Dave will be like, who the hell is this guy? Oh, well, you know, he just got into a scrap with his sister-in-law out on the corner, and he's had 22 fights in the street. He claims to be undefeated. Like,
Yeah,
stuff
that
like
guy.
that.
I think
The
that's
undefeated Street Fighter.
Yeah.
I've been
Oh.
in Devlin's DMs trying to get in to R&R previously, and you know I've tried to get Large
trying
to
to
back
fight?
me up. Oh yeah. I'm a
hell
1-0 amateur. I don't want to brag about it. I got the picks to back it up. I'll DM them after you, after this. But yeah, no, I've been in Devlin's DMs, but I think that's what's holding me back is I don't have a crazy ex-wife that's following me in, and
You're
like
too
I don't.
normal.
Well, maybe maybe
I
that's
think
it.
I need to step up my promoter game. This man right here will take anybody, anytime,
there you
right
go.
here, right now.
There you go. We got Frankie Buka, the promoter. I love it.
Yeah, but that's, you know what? Maybe that's a place you want to be in. You're too normal for Rough and Rowdy.
Yeah, I guess so. But I mean, we've seen the likes of Barstool hop in there, but I guess it was
You'll never see me, by the way, in the
Nate.
ring. People ask me that all the
No?
time, and I'm always like, one, I'm the most anxious guy at Barstool. I would never be able to like make the walk. I admire everyone that does. But two, how many people get to do like a 3-hour broadcast with Dave and Big Cat? Like I would
Yeah.
be crazy to give that spot up and maybe get Wally pipped by whoever fills in for me.
Right, it's like you and Jake
it.
Marsh that's ever done it, really. Jake Marsh
I think
does,
so.
yeah. The
Large
Arizona
gets
deal.
to do it. Like
Large,
I was
yeah.
I was at a wedding for the last Rough and Rowdy. Large did a great job filling in, but like I feel very, very grateful and fortunate to get to do that. I treat every Rough and Rowdy, like it sounds corny, but I treat it like it's my last every time. People are always like we'll be on the private jet afterwards. And I'm like, you think I get invited back for the next one? And Rowan and Caleb are like, yeah, dude, I think so. But I'm like, I don't know. Like I would really like if I did get invited back.
Dude,
That's
the
the
biggest,
actual word.
the
I
best
swear,
like rough
yeah.
one of the biggest Rough and Rowdy clips. I can't remember exactly what you say, but I still remember. I don't know if it's when one of the Ables goes over the rope or if it's one guy gets knocked out cold, but I just remember you going, oh, and then you say something that is like such an like you said, the timing of the whatever it was. It's one of the clips. I'll have to find it and we'll put it in here or something, but it's like one of those clips that like I've showed it to people. Like I said, there's no Barstool fans. I live in here in Florida. It's like no one barely even knows what Barstool is, especially where I'm from here in Naples. It's like old people. So like I'll just show people these things, and I showed my entire family that clip of the over the ropes with the Ables, and they were like, "What are you watching? This is hilarious." And I'm like, "This is really they're actually like fighting to like," and I'm like, "And this guy gets money from the announcers like half the time because he just goes over there and asks them." Like it's just how to explain it is insane, you know.
The one clip I have that I'll see pop up elsewhere, like I'll see it pop up on TikTok sometimes, is my first Rough and Rowdy. I was filling in for Roan. So I was in more of like the Caleb and Roan role. I didn't do commentary. Commentary is Bill Burr and Dave for that one.
Yeah.
It was when
Wow.
the one-man thrill ride fought. And we had the headsets on, and the production team had mentioned, like, nobody was meant to be talking to me. They were like, oh shit, we just bombed Syria. And I overheard it. So I just said it to the next fighter that came out of the ring, and he was out of it. He was like, came out like crazy fight. And I was like, we just bombed Syria. And he was like, oh, wait, what? And like, I was just like, back to you guys. And Bill Burr, I remember, liked that. And after the show, like Bill Burr kind of like came around the ring and started walking up to me. And I was like, oh no, what did I say? Was I stupid? Did he hate it? And he just like shook my hand and was like, hey, that was funny stuff tonight. The Syria line, great. And I was like, oh shit, Bill Burr said I was funny. My line was made. Like still to this day, like that's like one of the best compliments they've ever gotten. Like Bill Burr just being like, hey, good stuff.
Yeah,
And he was just
Bill
being
Burr
nice,
saying you're
but, like,
funny.
in my mind, I'm like, boom, that was Bill.
Yeah,
Burr.
Bill
it's
Burr's
great.
Bill Burr has one of the best jokes about dogs being awesome because they're shaking their ass at the door waiting for you no matter what you do. I obviously can't tell the joke, but he's a legend. So yeah, if he told me I'm funny, I'd probably piss my pants too. I
He's
don't blame you.
one of my all-time favorites. Yeah.
Yeah, there was something you mentioned. You said that was your second favorite. So your first favorite's Pup Punk, which you guys are doing a tour.
Yeah, a little mini tour.
Yeah. So you just what was it? I forget the bar's name, but you just broke it down there in Chicago. I mean, the clips look incredible. You got Mincy crowd surfing. Spider even found his way up there to crowd surf. You got Maxie and the Food Fighters singing a song or two. But I mean, you, Roan, Caroline, and obviously PFT and Frankie. You guys crush it with that. So what's that been like? You guys. I mean, you were original Barstool backstage, and now you're doing a tour on behalf of Barstool, kind of.
So yeah, this is crazy, but Pup Punk has been around for like almost 7 years at this point. I think we were joking backstage at this one. We were like, we got a 10-year anniversary tour like on the horizon, that's funny to talk about. But Pup Punk, by far my favorite thing that we do at Barstool, all started as a joke with the song "Back to School." I used to sit across from Roan at the old office and like infamously listen to music way too loud for my ears, which I've gotten better at, to be honest. But back then, music full blast all times. Like I think even in the Barstool like table coffee book that Caleb put out, like that's the joke K Marco wrote about me. Like I walk past Robbie's desk and he's blasting "Shout at the Devil" through his headphones so loud I could hear it. But I was listening to Blink-182 one day, and Roan, just being Roan, was being very funny, making jokes about Tom DeLonge's voice. And he came at it from such an outsider's perspective. Like Roan knew a couple Blink songs, the hits that everyone knows. But I was listening to a song where he's really enunciating a moyed or something. He's like, what is that? Why is he talking like that? And I showed him more like, I think it's hysterical too. I'm not like, no, it's awesome, dude. He sings like that because it's beautiful art. It's like, I don't know, listen to this one where he basically sings a whole song with only vowels. And we were like, Ron was like, why can't we start a band? It's all literally, it was like Caught on Stool Scenes by YP. I was like, hey, I play bass. And he's like, I think PFT plays guitar. I think Smitty plays drums. What if we recorded a music video? And then the idea was like immediately after the video, we'll do the behind the music VH1 breakup. Rowan got addicted to heroin. I went off, started a solo career. PFT, got into a car wreck. Like we were going to do the classic band documentary tropes. But after Back to School, Dave was like, that's hysterical. I think we performed it at the Duncan Awards. And Dave immediately was like, all right, Gaz, Irving Plaza, book it. And he booked us a show at Irving Plaza before we had a second song, before we had ever been in a room playing music together. Like we recorded Back to School at Hank's old apartment. I recorded a bass part. PFT recorded a guitar part. Roan recorded a vocal part. And we sent it to my friend Dom back in Jersey. And we're like, hey, I know we didn't record this to a metronome, but can you please try to put a drum part on this? He like struggled to do that. We were not a real band. And he booked us a show at Irving Plaza, which is like a 1,200 capacity venue in the city. Legendary. Green Day's played there. Foo Fighters, New York punk bands all get their start there. The Strokes. So that was the like single most nervous I've ever been for anything in my life, I think. Months out from the show, if PFT would mention the show, I'd be like, hold on one sec, I'll be right back, I'm gonna go throw up. I'd like head to the bathroom and puke. But we wound up putting together like a cover set, which that was the other thing. We didn't know what we were gonna do. Dave was like, I think you should just play that song 10 times. And we were like,
God,
that's not what people will pay to see. We're not playing Back to School, a song that's not even good in the first place. It's ironically like it's funny, but it's not like this is a jam. People don't listen to it for fun.
Dude, I will say, peaked in high school, dude. It's still stuck in my head. I'm singing it as we're talking right now. Like dude, that song I can never get out because it's probably the truth for me. That's why. So it's just brutal.
Right. Imagine after the fourth time you play that, you're like, you guys are gonna love this one. Back to School.
It's like people piling out, booing, throwing tomatoes at us. Like that's what I was picturing. We did My Real Girlfriend. So we kind of did that in like a real-ish studio because we were like, let's try to write another song. I think we wrote like maybe 3 songs by the time the show happened. That Just One Christmas. We closed with Just One Christmas in July and brought Big Ev on stage as Santa just because we were like, we don't have any other songs. Sorry, you're listening to the Christmas song now. But we did like 12 covers. And that was like once we started playing covers together in a room, and Frankie also joined the band.
I was going to say, you guys had your own behind
Rowdy.
you guys had your
Yeah.
own little drama. I was going to say, you acted like you didn't have the drama. You did. This is my whole intro to Barstool was stool scenes, watching
Yep.
Smitty get cucked out of that position. You guys were like, hey, we're
It
taking
got
Frankie, so-
unfortunately like too real. Yes. But
It was
Smitty was, I
great.
mean, he had a cast on. Smitty had a cast on. He
I
fought
know.
Chef at Rough and Rowdy and he had no shoulder. So it was like,
I still remember
sorry that
Frankie's
we're
elbow.
rehearsing without
Frankie's
you, but
elbow
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
He's like, I got to do the show or else Smitty's going to take the job back. He thought he was going to get Wally pipped. It was fucking hilarious.
Frankie's elbow is still in shambles. He'll probably need like a second
Oh, shit.
surgery at some point from drumming
Oh,
and
no.
golfing and pickleballing at this point.
True.
But the show went so well that we were all like, oh my God, we just want to do that again and again and again. Dave booked us the House of Blues in Boston like 2 months later. Bad idea. We weren't ready for like a venue of that size. And it went like poorly. I was like trying to fight a guy in the crowd. That's what everyone in the band talks about to this day. Also, people started drunkenly throwing beers on stage. And it was right after the Eagles beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl, I think. So Roan was like, you guys are throwing like Tom Brady out there, and he was egging it on. And it was just like, it was a bad vibe. But now I have a notes app that I updated recently. I think we've played like 18 or 19 shows at this point over the years. We've added Nick Hamilton and Caroline to the band. We're now like a 6-piece band. Nick Hamilton's playing the keys, rhythm guitar. We've got screens. At the Chicago show, we had like 2 smoke machines, CO2, and confetti. And we were like, who gave us the budget to do a Kiss show? This is crazy.
Well, you guys were at that Ocean City, Maryland show. What was it called again?
Ocean's Calling. That was crazy.
Yeah,
That was,
dude. My buddy lives right there. And I was like, bro, we
Yeah.
got to go to this. Like, it was unbelievable.
That was like we kicked off Saturday and we were the only band playing at that time slot. So as everyone is walking into the festival, we're on the main stage playing songs that people know too. So like they're walking over as they hear a cover, Damn It, or Mr. Brightside or something like that. And by the time we were done, there was probably like 5,000 to 10,000 people in the crowd, which was intimidating, outrageous, also the most fun thing ever. That was one that Frankie missed. Frankie was on his honeymoon, so that guy Dom I told you about that recorded on Back to School, called him back up. We got him in the band. We reunited the middle school band. At the last show, we had my brother come drum for a song where Frankie went and sang. So that, like, there's all these like, you know, we're getting people on stage, guest performances. We had a show that T-Pain closed once. We found out T-Pain was in town, and like Gaz had a contact to him through the Barstool Blackout Tour or something. Hit him up. Hey, do you want to come do All I Do Is Win at the end of the show? He was like, fuck yeah. Brought him out as a surprise. So it is like a little bit of a Pup Punk Royal Rumble. You come to a Pup Punk show, you never know who's getting on stage. Will and Taylor in Nashville. We packed Bojangles parking lots with them. We've done it all.
Can I make a suggestion?
Of course.
Pup Punk show the week of the dozen, since we're both going to be there. Run it
In
back.
Chicago? Run it
Yeah.
back this quick?
Run
Like a
it
week
back.
later? I don't know if we could run it back that quick in Chicago.
You'll have
It's
more
taking
stories
away,
in
like,
the area.
The 18-month rule is something in touring, I think. Like
Oh, is
return
it?
to
Oh,
the
God.
market at 8. But like, I don't know, we'll return to Chicago next year for sure.
Yeah, I'm
I
I
just
mean, we
kidding,
sold
but-
that out too. That was like one of our first like true sellouts, Joe's on Weed. We sold like 900 tickets for like it's a garage cover band. It's crazy. It feels like, I always say, it feels like Guitar Hero. When you play Guitar Hero and you're watching the screen, like you're hitting the notes you're supposed to hit, but you're also watching and you're like, look at me, I'm at Wembley Stadium. This crowd is going nuts. But like it's real, like the crowd is actually going nuts. And not for your songs. I mean, they'll sing My Real Girlfriend and Peaked in High School, which is funny.
Yeah.
But like we're doing Zombie and people are going crazy. You feel like you're in the friggin' Cranberries in the 90s. It's crazy.
No, it's similar to like I know that obviously, you know, a Pup Punk band is not what I'm about to say, but like, you know, a packed karaoke house, it's like it gives you a different rush when you're up there. You're like, holy shit, this is awesome. People like this.
Yeah.
Like this is, I want to keep doing this. Yeah, it gives you a rush.
Max said after he got off stage, he said to PFT, he goes, the only thing I could ever compare that feeling to is hitting a home run in college baseball.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
there you
incredible.
go.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, everyone. You had the whole Barstool Chicago office on stage for that one. It seemed like that. I mean, it was really cool to see, like, you know, that how, like, you know, you got Kate in the crowd, Hank in the crowd. Everyone really came out to support, and yeah, you guys really stepped on the scene. I'm excited. I think it's August 2nd, Friday in Columbus. I think
Yep.
I'm gonna try to get to that one. That's not too far.
Oh,
from
hell
Toledo.
yeah.
Yeah.
That one's going to be fun.
take
We're
a trip
doing
down.
August 2nd, Columbus. The next night, we're doing the Barstool Bar in Nashville, and that one's free. So if you're
What?
in Nashville, you can just come to that show.
Yeah.
And then at the end of August, we're doing DC and Philly. We've never done any of those cities ever, so it'll be first time for all of them.
Nice. The little homecoming for PFT and then homecoming for Roan. I like it. I like
Exactly.
it a lot.
That's how we tried to structure it. Yeah. And like all like cool venues in each, like the venue we're doing in Philly is called Underground Arts. Roan has had a rap battle there in the past. I've watched all of my favorite punk bands come up through there. So like cool, smaller venues too. Like this tour, we were like, let's not do a bunch of 1,000-cap venues. Let's do like 500, 600, 700. So you could pack the room and make it feel like a punk show.
Yeah, that's incredible shit. I used to help run a nightclub out here. We closed it down. I wish it was open. I tried to get Pup Punk in Toledo, but I could sell that shit.
Fun.
I mean, we did it was a whole light show and everything that I'd run on a keyboard. It was great. I do have a question though. You said that's your favorite thing. So is Clem going to be sad?
Oh yeah. No, my mom's basement's different because my mom's basement doesn't give me like Pup Punk also gives me two kinds of rushes. Pup Punk gives me the anxiety rush still to this day of like, oh no, a lot of expectations. So many people bought tickets. They're going to want a good show. We're going to have to deliver. And then I'm throwing up before the show, but then afterwards and during, it's like the most fun thing ever. My mom's basement is like my safe place. Go down to the basement, Clem, and it's just always going to be, it's like, you know, a Taco Bell quesadilla. Like every time you're like, this just slaps. This is the best. It's my comfort food. That's what it is. My mom's basement it's home for me. Look at that Taco Bell. I got it last night.
Yeah, the rapper's in there somewhere. I just had.
I got it last night. I wanted the Cheez-It thing that Clem said was great, but they didn't have it. So I was there already. I was like, all right, I'm not getting.
Mine doesn't have it either. We're getting cucked. People are talking about this thing. I need one. What the hell's going on?
I heard it's great. Clem is raving about it.
Oh, really? I remember the Cheez-It pizza freaking Portnoy was like, this thing sucks. And that was, it was like, but since you were talking about like things that you enjoy and everything, how about the Disney Boys? Is that happening again? Like we haven't talked about that at all. That was such a like big thing at one point, and then it just kind of been said. The dust has settled quite a bit from that.
I know it'll happen again because Dave has reached out to us to say it'll happen again. Like, the group chat is not. It's not a very active group chat, but once every few months, like Disney will come out with like a new churro, and Jeff D. Lowe will like send it in a group chat with like an eyes emoji and be like, "What do you think? Like Disney Boys? Like, is this worth a reunion?" And to one of them, Dave just responded like, "The Disney Boys will be back." He said it like it was like a post-credit scene, like you know, like Spider-Man will return. Like Dave basically gave us that, and we know like Dave had fun with it, like. During that, I mean, he wasn't having fun on the roller coasters, and neither was I. But throughout the day, like I think we all had such a fun day. Like even just messing with Jeff and his laminated sheet, which came in handy. Like we were messing with him, but we were like, thank God for the laminated sheet. We're like hitting everything one day. But Disney Boys, no doubt, will come back. I'm always trying to think of like another angle on how we could do it again and not just have it be like we went back to Disney and did the same stuff. So I've thought of like we didn't really try a lot of food last time because me and Dave were like throwing up from all the roller coasters. So like we could do, I'm sure, some kind of food tour around Epcot, or we could do like a Disney After Dark. I know they do like adults night at Star Wars After Dark. Everyone brings lightsabers and stuff. So I'm thinking of like a way we could change it up, maybe Disneyland, but it'd be harder to get Dave out there. Him already being in Florida, it was kind of convenient. But no doubt Disney Boys will be back. That was, if you were to say like a single most fun day, top to bottom at Barstool, how could it not be that? That was like
perfect. That was another one of my questions.
I literally felt like I was a kid in Disney. And like I joked before the trip, like we're going to be Disney adults after this. And if I don't think about that trip once a week, I swear, like,
no shit.
That was awesome. We got to go back, man.
But Robbie, Bob Fox is swooning over Disney Boy memories. I love
swooning over Disney. Like Disney
you guys got to drink around the world at Epcot.
Like, I feel like a douche even like bragging about this, but it was Disney with Dave Portnoy. So it was like we didn't pay for anything and we made it to the front of every line. It was like it felt like we snuck into the park after hours and we're doing things we weren't supposed to be doing. But it was Dave. And Dave was treated like Mickey Mouse there. It was awesome. Like people were more excited to see Dave than Mickey Mouse, for real. People were online for rides, getting out of the lines that they were in for hours to take a picture with Dave. It was awesome. And people would also do the classic like, "Oh, my kid wants to meet you." And Dave would be like, "Really?" And they'd be like, "Nah, just me."
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, I think before Miss Peaches, that was the happiest I've ever seen, holding a lightsaber in a dark room around a bunch of little kids. Like, it's probably the
Yeah.
happiest I've ever seen a clip of Dave Portnoy just holding a lightsaber at Disney World with the Disney boys. In
He's
your
the
bio
unicorn.
on Barstool,
Great.
in your bio on Barstool, I don't think it mentions Disney Boy. It mentions I think it specifically says nerdy shit.
Oh, yeah.
So what's like give me like your most niche nerd shit that like people don't know about Bob Fox. What are you into?
Stuff that people don't know about. I don't know. Like the nerdy shit more in reference to like Star Wars and comic book movies.
Okay.
Like that's like a big part of what I feel like I cover at Barstool, if you want to call it that, talk about at Barstool. So that's more the nerdy shit that people don't know I'm into. That's interesting because I feel like I talk about it all on my mom's basement and probably stuff that I shouldn't even talk about. Nerdy shit
That's
people
probably being in the
don't.
basement. I understand.
I mean, like, I am into wrestling on like a really nerdy level. Like I'll read like Twitter threads, long Reddit threads about like the psychology behind wrestling matches and stuff like that. And like I'm into wrestling on the gear level. So like when we were at WrestleMania with Brandon, he would be talking to wrestlers backstage about like, oh, remember your match at WrestleMania? That was awesome. What was that like? And I would be like, remember the gear you wore at SummerSlam 2006? And they'd be like, no. I'd be like,
No,
let me
right.
show you a picture. I have it saved. What did you think? Like, so like, I don't tweet as much about wrestling just because like my Twitter feed is as cluttered enough as it is. But I also used to live tweet Monday Night Raw, like by the minute, to the point where when I got hired as an intern and Trent knew I would be helping out with foreplay, he threw me the nice like courtesy follow and he unfollowed me that night because I was tweeting too much about wrestling. He was like, can't have it.
Yeah, man, it really sucks. Barstool should have maybe a wrestling podcast.
Yeah, it's a decent idea.
Yeah,
It's a decent idea. If
but
anyone
I'm
were to
sure
come up with
someone
it,
will think about it eventually. Yeah, I don't know.
Who's your
I don't know.
favorite wrestler?
all time, I'm a Brian Danielson / Daniel Bryan guy, whatever name you want to call him. It's him, it's Shawn Michaels, and it's Rey Mysterio. Those are my three.
Yes, Rey Mysterio, the 619. That was the only guy I played with in the video games. I had
The
to do
most
the
fun
619.
always, the high
Yeah.
flyer. He had
Oh,
all the
yeah.
Hurricane Ranas. Yeah, Ray was always my small kid, nerdy kid, scrawny kid. So
Mhm.
how could Ray not be your favorite? Rooting for an underdog growing up. I mean, all three of them are like Shawn is the biggest of the three, but I'm always into like that's like my favorite style of wrestling, like an underdog overcoming the odds.
Right. I want to see that little guy fly off the top rope and take down the Big Show. That's sick. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned Marvel there. I too. I've kind of fallen off, so I don't want to claim to be a big Marvel fan because now it's like I'll miss 2 movies and I'll go catch up and watch them whenever I can. But the Captain America versus Green Lantern, a lot of people online say that Green Lantern would beat Captain America in a fight because he has powers. They have the same origin story. Can you tell them they're wrong? Because I think Captain America wins that.
I'm also a Cap guy. When it comes down to those two, especially, like I have an interesting like DC Marvel perspective. When it comes to the comic books, I'm a DC guy, specifically a Batman guy. Like I grew up pretty much only reading Batman comics. Sometimes I would venture outside of that, read some Justice League stuff because Batman would appear or something. But I really didn't even like touch Marvel comics. I loved all the Marvel movies, Spider-Man, Fantastic Four growing up. Then when the MCU came with Iron Man,
Yeah.
I was like, all right, Marvel is the shit. Like, how could you not love the MCU, especially all the early stuff, Tony Stark and Chris Evans going back and forth. So movie-wise at this point, I lean Marvel. Character-wise, I still lean DC. But on this specific matchup, I lean Marvel still. I lean Captain America. Like Cap is my guy when it comes to Marvel. Captain America, Spider-Man, those are specifically them. So yeah, like Green Lantern's always been one of those characters for me where I know that there's stories out there where he's badass and he's cool. And I'm sure there's Lanterns fans that are like, you watch what you say about the Lantern. Right. I don't know. The guy with the ring, like you tell me he's the friggin' cool guy, the ring that could project stuff and like he could project like a big boxing glove, like Looney Tunes style. Like, I don't know. Lantern ain't all that. Captain America will take a gun out and shoot him in the head.
Yeah. Or if Thor's got the night off, he can have the hammer.
Boom. And like,
right there,
come on, like Lantern ain't beating Mjolnir.
No way.
It's not happening. Yeah. So, but I'm sure if you were to really go deep on the Lantern stuff, and the new Lantern show is supposed to be awesome. People are saying it's going to be like True Detective meets Ozark meets like Lost, which sounds crazy. But there's like 3 or 4 Green Lanterns. I'm sure one would have like much better odds than another. Like maybe Jon Stewart would have better odds than Hal Jordan. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I appreciate
You asked me to get
my
nerdy. I
shirt.
got nerdy on it.
No, I
No,
love
that was
it. I
good.
love it. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. What were we gonna say, Frankie? Speaking of being
No, I
honest,
said, did
what?
you see me look down at my shirt? Because I specifically picked out a Captain America shirt to wear for this, and I clearly just grabbed the wrong one when I came down here. Did not realize
Yeah,
till
that
just
ain't
now
Cap.
that
I
I
don't
wasn't.
see him on that
No.
shirt.
No,
No,
it was. This is completely the wrong one. That's why I looked. I was like, "What?" Okay,
Yeah.
so
You're giving off way more of a Dark Knight vibe, Frankie. for
yikes,
sure.
dude! The fact that I didn't know I wasn't wearing that shirt until that's.
Yeah, no,
Cut
I
this,
actually I have
Jesus
a Marvel
Christ.
shirt in the wash that I didn't throw in the dryer. I was gonna wear as well. So I feel your pain there. I don't. So I'm out of. That's everything on my list. But you mentioned your best moment, right? Disney boys. If you had to go best day, do you have what's your worst day? Worst moment?
Oh, worst day at Barstool?
Yeah, you've been there
When-
for a long time. According to your
Yeah,
LinkedIn, 7 years, 9 months.
honestly, it's an easy one. I have two that were easy. One is actually Star Wars related. One when I was Riggs's intern, and in college at the same time, I was like failing algebra, so bad at math. Just you've seen my guesses on the dozen. I guess like 5,000 miles between like the Grand Canyon and Mount Rushmore the other day. So bad at math, so bad. So I was
I
failing.
got you, bro. I'm a math teacher, so let me know.
I had like gotten it was like this math lab class where you would go and put in hours on the computer. You didn't have like a real teacher. You just had to get through these workshops or whatever. And I was there constantly. So I told Riggs, like, hey, to pass this class, I'm gonna have to skip out on this day of Barstool working for you. I have to go to math lab. I went to math lab. After math lab closed at 6, I went to go see Rogue One for the 3rd time in theaters. And I tweeted my movie ticket, like going to see Rogue One for the 3rd time. Cannot wait. Just as excited as I was the first time, something like that. And Riggs texted me or called me and immediately pissed. And he was like, I thought you were at math lab. What the fuck? And I was like, I was at math lab. Math lab is closed. And he's like, I called math lab. They were open. And he did. He like my parent, like called my college to see if math lab was still open. Now, the issue was he called and like a general math lab is open. I was in a class. So when he called and they were like, yeah, they're open, he was like, you're lying to me. And he was ready to fire me. And people at Barstool, I don't know who, but I know like people were like, fire his ass, like teach, set an example, teach him a lesson. And I came in the night of the intern battle royal, which happened on Pardon My Take. They literally put tape on the floor, put all the interns in the tape, including like Glennie, Rhea, Mikey Flash was one of them. Weird crew. Ken Jack was one of them. And we just pushed each other. It like sumo wrestled for everyone's entertainment. Crazy. But that was one of the worst nights because I truly thought I was getting fired. And I'm pretty sure Roan was actually one of the people that said to Riggs, like, don't fire him. I like him. So that was a big, like early, like, okay, Roan's one of my guys. I love that. And then the second one was I so foolishly declared myself Team KFC once upon a time against Team Portnoy. You could say I started Team Portnoy. Yeah. So I was in California for a trip. I went to like I think it was called Tech Crunch. I was doing a lot of man on the street videos. It was like a tech convention. We thought we would get a good video out of it. It was like decent, but I was disconnected from Barstool Radio, not listening on a different time zone. And when you're disconnected, you feel like, oh my God, I'm missing the world right now. Like if I miss one day, everyone's going to forget it. It's almost like missing a day of school. And you're like, how can I ever get back and catch up? So I saw that there was some hashtag Team Portnoy, hashtag Team KFC tweets. I had no idea what was going on whatsoever and tweeted something like, hey, if we're picking sides, I'm hashtag Team KFC. Because at that point, KFC was totally like one of my guys. He was like giving me advice at every turn, really helping me out. I had no idea the severity of it. And there really wasn't any severity to it. I was just the first like person from Barstool to be like, oh, there's my dog, to basically just be like, fuck Dave out of nowhere. And like looking back, like, what was I thinking? Even KFC was like, bro, like, I appreciate it, but what were you thinking? When I got back, I thought I was getting fired. I remember talking to KFC and Big Cat, and both of them were like, he might fire your ass. I don't know. Like, Dave was so mad. He was like, he was calling me every word under the sun, words that you can't say now. And it was just like, he was like screaming. But after that day of Barstool Radio, it was pretty much fine. Like he held a grudge for maybe a month or two, and then quickly got back into good graces with him. I think I did the Jeff D. Lowe, like, you pop your head into his office, you're like, Baby Yoda, and he's like, oh, Baby Yoda, and then you're in a good grace.
Right. Well, it's great. Sorry, my dog's going crazy now too.
Your
It's
dog see my dog? That was crazy.
yeah, it's
That's
got to
big.
be it. No, actually, if he did see her on the big screen here, he would be barking at that. No, there's some
Probably
little
what it
girl
was,
yelling
yeah.
in the street. Could be it. Yeah, it's a good looking dog. What the dog doing?
Yeah. I only had a couple more
Chilling.
things here that were not like super important things, but Ultimate Fighter just came out, Grasso versus Shevchenko. Are you going to be watching that?
I'll keep up. I pay attention to all of them. Ultimate Fighter at this point is a little strange because a lot of the
Overplayed.
UFC prospects, they come in through Dana White's Contender Series now. So there's
Yep.
a weird crop of fighters. Now, this crop is actually a pretty good one. There's a lot of good regional fighters, and I know people are talking about them like they're good, but it's hard to get the juices flowing. Even honestly, the McGregor Chandler season wasn't great, which like if you're
Agreed.
putting McGregor in there as a coach against Chandler, another super entertaining personality, and you can't get like a great season out of that. I don't know. Like I
Yeah,
feel
they
like
need-
Dana White's Contender Series has filled the void
Yep.
that the old Ultimate Fighter left. I love the Contender Series. Tuesday night fights and stuff. It's the best.
Well, the old Ultimate Fighter too, you had like, let me bang, bro. Let me bang. You
Yeah,
don't have
that-
those guys
so-
anymore.
That era, like that's the best. Joe Lozon came from an early Ultimate
Yes.
Fighter.
Yeah.
He actually knocked out Jens Pulver. He like made his UFC debut on short notice, knocked out Jens Pulver, and then had to fight on the Ultimate Fighter on Jens Pulver's team to earn himself a contract, which is very awkward when your coach is the guy you just knocked out.
Yeah. that's sick. Holy shit. And then the last thing I had was just, is there going to be another Nathan Hurst collab? Because those logos,
Oh
dude,
yeah.
that was
So he
so
did all the
long
Pup
ago, but
Punk
those are
stuff.
sick. What's that?
The Pup Punk, he did all the Pup Punk stuff for this tour. So
Oh,
any
shit,
Pup Punk
really?
artwork you see, the poster with like the dog on it, it says like Off the Leash Tour. He came up with all that years ago as just like a joke. He like tweeted me like my concept for a fictional Pup Punk tour poster, and I was like,
That's
that is
sick.
dope. So when we said this year like we're doing a tour, Pink Whitney, we need to come up with like a tour name. I was like, oh shit, I remember that. He said Off the Leash Tour, and that like sounds cool. It sounds like
Yeah.
a tour name. And the poster was so cool that I hit him up and was like, hey, can you just like redo it in a new format or whatever? We need a new file. And it's on the drum head now. We got like banners behind it. So I was sending him all the pictures. He does all the artwork for My Mom's Basement, if you didn't know. And he's got such a cool, like cartoony style that's so unique. I haven't seen it anywhere else. So I try to use him for all our merch, all our stuff. It just gives it a different feel than the rest of the Barstool stuff.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was just looking
smart.
at it was like 2020 when he was doing all the logos for you that were like the Marvel guys and like all that stuff.
Yep.
And I was like, these are so
He does
sick,
the My Mom's
dude. Like,
Basement, like our logo too. That's him. And that was another
Awesome.
thing where like I didn't like commission a logo. He was just like, hey, here's a logo. And I was like, that's so dope. It's the logo now.
Yeah.
that's the
that-
best way. That's like what you did. You were
Yeah.
doing that. You were sending
Yeah.
people like, hey, you can have this for free, man. Like, I just love you.
Dude,
You
and I
know,
think
like
it's
it's
cool, like having like an actual listener like be a part of the show in that way. Like this tattoo I have was designed kind of by a stoolie. This fox,
No shit.
like I knew exactly what I wanted. I knew I wanted, like me and my sister wanted when she was getting married and losing the Fox last name. We were like, oh, let's get matching fox tattoos. So you're always a fox, you know? And I knew exactly what I wanted, geometric fox with paint splatter, watercolor, whatever. And there was a stoolie that was doing like sweet artwork at the time. And I was like, hey, let's get a tattoo done by a stoolie. It would be sweet. So hit her up for the artwork. She gave me the artwork, brought it to a tattoo artist, and there it is forever.
That's yeah, that's sick. That's sick. I was gonna ask what your favorite tattoo was. I mean, I guess in that pretend like we didn't just talk about hers. We don't want to like be like, not that one, but yeah.
It's so hard, but it's probably the lightsaber because I'll never have like a cooler picture than the one of like Luke Skywalker holding the lightsaber on my arm. And I joke that his DNA is still in there because he did that like a day after I got the tattoo done and it was still healing. So I'm like, it was an open wound. His DNA is in there.
Yeah, for sure. Well, like I said, I'm out of I went through my list, and Robbie, it's been a pleasure talking to you for over an hour now. We got to learn. I mean, you're a very knowledgeable, and you exemplify why we like Barstool because you're passionate about things, and maybe it's some nerdy shit, which is fine, Robbie. That's
Nerdy
fine
shit,
to be a
yeah.
nerd, yeah. But the stuff that's not, especially Spinning Backfist, getting UFC credentials is huge. But again, thank you so much for coming on. This little niche Barstool breakdown because we appreciate it a lot.
Of
Oh, wait,
course.
yeah,
You
last
guys
one.
aren't
What's your
so niche
favorite?
anymore either. Yeah, you guys. I'm seeing you guys on Twitter all the time now.
Yeah, well,
Oh,
thank you,
it's
thank
good.
you.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, we gotta-
Favorite Marvel movie?
Oh shit, we missed that one.
Probably Infinity War, to be honest.
I figured you're gonna say that. That one's
Infinity
it's tough.
War or the first Guardians of the Galaxy. Every time I watch that, and I love all three Guardians movies, but
That's
every
the
time I watch the first one,
Soundtrack doing that to you.
yeah, but it's like it's perfect. Every time I'm like, there's not a scene in that movie that they wasted. But
Dude,
Infinity
my
War
wife
just,
loves that one. Anytime that's on
Infinity
TV,
War
she's
gave
like,
me,
"Let's
like-
watch it."
yeah. Infinity War gave me the same feeling that like leaving the theater for like The Dark Knight almost gave me, and that's like my favorite movie ever, where I was just like, oh my god, I didn't know they could make a movie that good in that world, like with these characters. So probably Infinity War, yeah.
Yeah, dude, there were people laughing, crying, and clapping at the end of that movie when I went to see it. And I wasn't like a huge Marvel fan at that point. Like my buddy who was like, "Hey, I bought you a ticket. You need to watch all the Marvel movies before this one comes out." And I did it, dude. I just was
It was
crushing
an event.
them. Like,
Yeah, everyone had to do it.
Every night I was watching every movie in the order it told me to do it online. I became like this big Marvel guy. I get there and he's like, "Here's your Captain America shield. I have a mask for you." I'm like, "What the fuck are we doing, dude? We're going to the movies." And man, it was a spectacle, dude. Like I said, people hysterically crying.
It's like WrestleMania. Yeah.
It was crazy.
You're
dude. I
like,
was
oh
"This is
my
kinda
god, like
awesome."
an event. Yeah, the
Yeah.
vibe leaving the theater, like especially like the fact that they nailed Endgame as well, that they like landed the plane and
Yeah.
everyone loved that too. Leaving the theater in Endgame, just like everyone's an emotional wreck, but we're like, it was all worth it. 10 years of our time watching these movies, it was worth it.
Dude,
Yeah,
I had an edible before Endgame, and then when Tony passed, it hit me like I
You
just lost.
passed.
Like, yeah, exactly right. Yeah, I walked out. I was still teary eyed walking out. Whoever
I was gonna say you floated out in the river of your tears.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what it was. It was the worst. It was the worst high I ever experienced. Fuck that.
No, same. There's embarrassing videos of me post Avengers Endgame. I wish I could take back, but I can't, hard on the sleeve.
It's called passion, man. And again, it's the reason we love you. It's the reason we love Barstool, because all the passion. And
Right.
yeah, again, I got to run back to work and close down the bar. But I could sit here and talk shop with you forever, Robbie. So thanks again.
Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
It's the Barstool Breakdown. Go ahead and give it to me. Breakdown. Let's listen to those guys.